Good afternoon. This is the Duke of Fremont Street broadcasting from Las Vegas, Nevada, here in the United States of America. Today is February 23rd, 2020. Before beginning my video, I would like to thank you for stopping by and thank you for all the support that you've given me in the past. And hopefully we can keep this going for a long, long time. Salute. So refreshing. Well, today is the return of Mr. Bull. Many of you have asked about him in the past. He is one of my beautiful acquisitions that I've picked up over the years. And he's composed of 0.999 silver. The actual weight is anybody's guess, but he's quite heavy. But I think it's very appropriate to bring out Mr. Bull today, since the precious metals markets have been very, very strong and heading north. Underneath them, I have some of my 10th ounce ducats. This is 0.999 purity, 1/10 troy ounce, opposed to my 1 ounce Duke ducats, which are also 0.9995. The market, as I mentioned, the precious metals is way up today, which is good. Let's start with the Dow Jones, the stock market. We closed down 464.85 points today. That's actually the lowest the stock market has closed in 2022. That's not a good sign for the stockholders out there. I'll stop right now and tell you I'm not a financial advisor. I'm a passionate precious metals advocate, and I've been doing this for over 5 decades, so I feel I have some knowledge when it comes to this subject matter, and I'm just expressing my opinions for your consideration and entertainment. Gold, on the other hand, today traded up fairly decently. We closed at 1908.90 bid by 1909.90 ask, up $10.40, which is 0.55%. This has been our highest close in the gold market in over a year. So I consider this a very, very bullish sign. Recently, a few videos ago, I believe I mentioned that to keep an eye on the gold if it breaks the 1900 mark. That's a very strong indicator. And I think 2000 is around the market. In fact, I believe we're going to test our all-time gold high soon. And if we surpass that, the sky's the limit. There's really no reason for the gold to continue moving north. Silver is also up today at $24.52 bid by $24.62 ask. That's up a hefty 44 cents or 1.83%. This close surpasses silver's 60-day high, which is also a very, very bullish sign for silver. The ratio between silver and gold right now is about 75-1. So I believe both silver and gold are great commodities or tangibles to look at putting your currency in. However, I think silver is a much wiser move because you have so much more upside potential. Gold is almost at its all-time high, and silver is just now approaching half of its all-time high, which was set back in 1980. So the upside on the silver in particular is tremendous, and the downside risk, I think, is very, very minimal. I believe in it so strongly, I'm going all in and have for quite some time. I do buy, sell, and trade. I purvey the precious metals for my associates. And I do this as a passion. I've been doing it for over 50 years, and I'm blessed because I truly enjoy getting out of bed in the morning and getting to work. To me, the metals have always intrigued me, and I believe to my dying breath I'll be enamored with them. There's an old saying, and the old saying is, the trend is your friend. And I truly believe that. Needless to say, the trend is up on the precious metals and the trend is down for the stocks. So I'll let you be the judge of what you want to do about that. The question is, what's driving up this precious metals market? Why all of a sudden is there a move north? I think this question would take hours and hours, if not days, to examine and answer. But I want to touch on some of the highlights of why I believe the precious metals are moving so well. Overall, the world's in almost a crisis stage. There's tremendous instability domestically and worldwide, and it makes for jittery trigger fingers. Let's talk about the Ukraine, for example. We're all aware that the Vladimir Putin and his Russian forces are virtually surrounding the Ukraine, the country of Ukraine, and this crisis is very troubling. I think it could spill over into a European conflict, if not a world conflict, and I certainly hope that this doesn't take place. The president here in the United States has sent troops to our NATO allies to try to curtail some of the movements of the Russians. I'm not certain I agree with that. I believe that halfway across the world, we are meddling with somebody else's affairs. I think we should concentrate on our own southern border, which is in total disarray. In fact, I think our southern border is so in such disarray that I no longer call it a border. I call it our southern frontier. People can go back and forth as they wish. As I've said in other videos, I've traveled 6 continents. In any other country that I've ever visited that had a border like ours, it wasn't a border, it was a frontier. So I think we should perhaps concentrating on cleaning our own house rather than dictating to people on the other side of the world. The Russians, I believe, are trying to restore, Putin in particular, some of the glory days of the Russian Empire, the Soviet Union, and gain a buffer zone between him and the NATO allies. And that's fairly predictable. In the meantime, we have his neighbor to the east, our neighbor to the east, the Chinese, and they're looking at this and just sitting on the sidelines, watching this tennis match go back and forth. The Chinese are interesting people. I don't like communists of any kind. I don't like communism. I'm an American. I'm a capitalist, a pragmatist, and I don't like any dictatorial types of regimes. But the communists are funny compared to the United States, in particular the Chinese communists. We Americans are focusing on the last couple hundred years of our history. We're trying to rewrite it. We're trying to deny it. We're pulling statues down. We're desecrating graves. We're rewriting history. We're burning books. Sounds familiar to the 1930s, doesn't it, in Germany. And what are the Chinese doing? They're focusing on the next 100 years. as we're talking about woke and who did this and who hates who, and they're developing supersonic delivery systems for their nuclear weapons. I don't admire the Chinese, I distrust them. And I think that they ultimately will gain in this quagmire that we may get into in Europe. We're going to commit a lot of energy, money, and perhaps lives into something that I think we should leave alone, frankly. I mean, we haven't even licked our wounds from this Afghanistan debacle, and here we go off starting another major conflict. That's my opinion. Like I said, let's tighten up our own border. Could you imagine we as Americans staring at Chinese troops on our Mexican border or Russian troops on our Canadian border? Just project how that would make you feel. So I'm not defending the Russians, but I believe that they are in many ways trying to protect their sovereignty and regain some of the influence that they've lost when they went bankrupt, basically, with the Soviet Empire. On to another issue that's affecting us all. It's called the supply chain. I believe it's getting worse. So we're having a virtual breakdown in like auto parts. You can't get this, you can't get that. We can't get new cars built. The price of this is going up. The price is going up. That is going up. I think it's going to get worse before it gets better. We're so heavily dependent on importing, and with the clog of the supply chain, as you're well aware, there are many things that we have to do without at the moment. I mean, for goodness sakes, I went to buy my champagne the other day and they're out. I mean, I panicked. I'm glad I have a case or two stashed away. But anyway, keep an eye on that supply chain, and it doesn't hurt to have a few tangibles stacked up in your cellar. I wouldn't recommend panic buying, but be vigilant and keep an eye on that. As you're well aware, inflation is rampant and it's runaway. This money printing that they're doing, this continuous currency printing, is it's unheard of. We're not producing more, we're just producing more currency. And we're not developing anything to back it up. So because we have a fiat system that's not backed by the precious metals, which is how it was originally set up in the Constitution, our purchasing power of the dollar is going down. Silver and gold could actually sit stagnant, but they'll still rise substantially in price because the actual purchasing power of the dollar is going down so severely. Civil unrest is something that we're also very familiar with, and I think that it's we could go to the streets at any time over anything. I think people have been pent up for the last couple of years, and frankly, there's people in our country, me being one of them, that doesn't want anybody to impose their will upon me. Back with when they had the mask mandates, I never did comply to that, and I feel if that's what you want to do it. But I personally feel that it was an invasion of my space. Same thing with the vaccines. I personally have had them, but I respect your right to refuse that needle in your arm. That, as an American, is your right to choose what you wish to do. Anyway, I don't see any reason for these items that I've mentioned, these to change. I think that we're stuck in this rut, and I'm not certain of what it's going to take to get us out of there. So in the meantime, what do we do to preserve our wealth or to acquire wealth? Our middle class is deteriorating. The haves have more and the have-nots have less. And as the middle class erodes, this breeds the civil unrest, and eventually could breed even a revolution. That's historically what's always happened. The middle class of society is the glue that holds that together. So it's been attacked severely, and once again, I find this a very, very troubling sign. Hopefully, we'll stabilize as a country and return to some semblance of normal. So what do I recommend that you do? I recommend that you acquire, purchase, and acquire commodities. Your precious metals in particular, because those will be more and more sought after in the coming days. I've been doing precious metals. I've been messing with those for 50 plus years, and I've never seen the market tighter as far as supply. So once again, I think it's a good time to acquire them. A lot of my associates lament that the premiums are so high and that they don't want to pay the premiums that are imposed upon us today. I don't think you have a lot of choice with that. I believe that's a reflection of the artificially low prices of the manipulated market. So the paper market, the COMEX, is I think like Fantasy Island. I think reality out here in the real world is reflected by those premiums. So instead of having a $24 or $25 an ounce eagle, you'll have a $34 or $35 an ounce eagle. That, I think, truly is more the value of that item. If possible, I would get rid of all your debt. The debt that is, your charge card debt, anything with a flexible rate is your enemy. Obviously, none of us, or a lot of us, are not in the position where we can own a car outright or our home outright. So as long as that debt is in increments that are stable and not the interest rate isn't flexible, it's fine. But I would work on getting rid of any of the unnecessary charge cards and pay them off at the end of the month. I use one every month and pay it off at the end of the month. As I mentioned before, stock up on tangibles, not only the precious metals, but your food stocks, your non-perishables. I have wood burning fireplace here. I've got enough wood to last for years. If the grid goes down, which I certainly hope it doesn't, say there's a cyber attack from another entity, another country, or another evil force, you have to be able to deal with that. All of a sudden, the bank accounts aren't available. The lights don't go on. The cell phones don't work. The water doesn't come out of the tap. This is potentially what we're staring at. So I think you should hope for the best and prepare for the worst. And most of all, remain vigilant. Don't stay informed, incidentally. I have so many people that have said that they don't want to listen to the news. It's too depressing. This ostrich syndrome, in my opinion, is ludicrous. Gain knowledge and seek out knowledge, and definitely in your best possible way determine what's truth and what's fiction or what's propaganda. We're being battered and bombarded with propaganda on a daily basis. So I would do my best to discriminate what you're listening to in the news. I strongly recommend that you become the master of your own fate and chart out your own course. And I believe you can do that. I think the precious metals, I believe the precious metals will give you that extra energy and that extra value that can make that happen. Worst case scenario, you're wrong and you'll still be ahead of the bet. I think they're going up nothing but north, and the tangibles will always be tangible. I don't believe in anything that I can't see or hold. Well, I would like to thank you for stopping by, and I would like to drink a toast to you. Here's to your health, and here's to your wealth. Salute. If you happen to be visiting Vegas, don't hesitate to give me a call, and perhaps we can get together while you're here. As I said, I'm a purveyor, a buyer and seller of precious metals. And if you have something for sale, I'll be more than happy to take a look at it. If you're wishing to acquire, I'd be more than happy to take care of your needs. In the meantime, stay happy and well. And with me, I'm going to continue with my life. What I say is the adventure continues, and it does. Don't be alarmed by the dark days ahead that may transpire. I believe you'll still be the master of your own fate. In the meantime, you all stay well again. Salute.